Hello, my name is Lindsay Robson. I'm from Ontario, Canada, and I am making a blog / video diary, and I would like to share this with the world. The reason why I'm making my blog, I would like to share my recovery and share my journey of rejuvenation with everybody online. The idea came to me at 1:30 in the morning. Sometime I suffer insomnia, and I'm up and I was thinking about something a wise man once told me. I can't quote him word for word, but he said, try to make the trauma that you have experienced into something good. That day, he provided examples. I thought I understood what he was talking about. I smiled, I nodded, and I moved on. And I don't think until months and months later, I really understood what he meant. And this blog is going to be my way of following through with what he said. I'm going to try and make the trauma that I've experienced into something good. My blog. So, to tell you about me, and I'm 27 years old. I'm a child and youth worker. I love music. I love sports. I've been a child and youth worker for 5 years. I have worked in a First Nations group home for youth, both boys and girls. I've worked in residential care and treatment assessment facilities. I've worked with adults with disabilities and dual diagnoses in group homes. I've worked with adults in employment with disabilities, and currently I work in foster care. I spent a lot of my career working with the First Nations community. When I was in college, I was really passionate about learning the culture and studying the culture, and it really made me want to help the culture when I got into my field. So, enough about myself, about what I love and who I am. Let's talk about what I'm recovering from, what this journey is all about. I am one of the 1 in 5 Canadians that suffers and lives with mental health. I am one of the 9.2% of Canadians that has a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder. I am the 1 in 4 Canadians that experiences depression. And I am also a Canadian that has learning disability. My learning disability is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. There's 3 types of ADHD, which some people don't know. There's the inattentive type, there is a hyperactive impulsive type, and then the last one's the combined type. So lucky me, I got the combined type. So the combined type means that I have 6 or more symptoms of the inattentive and the hyperactive impulsive. The combined type of ADHD is twice as prevalent in boys as it is in girls. So my post-traumatic stress disorder, a lot of people know about it because it's very common in veterans of war. The trauma they experience in the war can lead to this diagnosis. I have been diagnosed with PTSD for different reasons, as I am not a veteran. I've experienced a great deal of trauma throughout my life, and then the major depressive disorder was kind of given to me at the same time. So I really want to help Canadians that suffer with similar things that I suffer from, and I hope me sharing my experiences, my recovery, and my journey of rejuvenation will help others. So some of the things that come with all of those labels that I just talked about, some of the symptoms, I have awful night terrors, I have panic attacks and anxiety attacks, I have flashbacks that are both auditory and that are both visual. I have increased drowsiness, a part of the depression. My anxiety, I feel like I'm judged. I feel like I'm not worth it. I worry. I I gain anxieties like that. So if I'm late for work once, okay, I'm always now going to have an anxiety about being late for work. If I get scared in the grocery store because a man gets too close to me, I may not go back to that grocery store ever again. So some of these examples I've given you are real things that I've gone through. So the flashbacks are a part of the PTSD, the lack of motivation and the drowsiness, and the energy that comes from the depression. And this much talking, that comes from ADHD. So I figured that all the things that make me, a lot of people have some of the same things. You may not have everything that I've got. You may have more. But I think that if I share this, you guys, the world will be able to relate, and you'll want to follow my journey, and you'll want to see what I do. So this journey of mental health comes with sometimes thoughts of suicide and suicide attempts. So all of the symptoms that I experienced, they became really challenging for me to live an everyday life. I, in the last year, have attempted to commit suicide twice. After that second time, I ended up in the hospital for a week. And I decided this time, girl, you're worth it. You are worth it. And once I had really made that choice, I had to start figuring out everything that all the professionals that I've worked with have told me. So I've worked with nurses, I've worked with psychologists, health coaches, occupational therapists, physiotherapists, counselors. I've put everything they've said together and everything that I believe in, and I am setting new goals. Goals so that there's a future for me to think about and look on when I do have really bad days, because those days still exist. I had the worst night terrors last night, and I was up a lot. I was in the hospital last week with a panic attack. I am not giving up, though. I just started back at work. I'm working part-time, working once a week in the office and a little bit from home. And these goals that I am setting are different from the ones I set before. Before, my goals appeared very material. My goal was to buy a house. I bought a house with my boyfriend. Love you, Corey. My next goal was to buy a car. I bought my car. My next goal was to finish school. Did that 5 years ago. And then my other goal was to get a good job. I had tons of those. I searched the field through tons of good jobs, and I found one that I loved. I'm working in foster care, and I really, really enjoy working with children and their families. But with someone who's accomplished all these goals, I was still so depressed. I was still struggling to live an everyday life with post-traumatic stress disorder and ADHD, and I still didn't feel I was worth it. How? I don't know. But that's how it was. So these new goals that I was setting are going to be goals that add to activities that make me feel good. I took up the ukulele and I'm loving it. Bought it last week. I'm learning how to play Let It Be by the Beatles, one of my favorite bands. I joined a volleyball team with my friends, and you would not believe how great it makes me feel. And this week I am starting to learn ballet. So they may seem small, they may seem simple, it may not be anything big, but for me, finding a new hobby is huge. And these hobbies are something that I love. So please join me on this journey. Goodbye.